Good evening. This evening we're going to discuss the laws of kosherizing certain heating elements that we have in our homes for Pesach. The first and the most important heating element in our home is our oven. So how do we kosherize an oven for Pesach? It's a very simple process. It's easier said than done, obviously, but it goes as follows. The first thing is that we have to know that before we kosherize, we have to make sure that we clean it. Okay? Clean it literally with soap and water on a sponge. Make sure that all the grime and grease that are on the grates, that could be on the walls of the oven, and are most definitely at the bottom of the oven, are all squeaky clean. That is the first step. After the oven is completely clean, then we start counting a 24-hour process. So even though the last time you used that oven might have been a week ago or a month ago, that's still not good enough. The waiting of me'et la'et, the 24 hours, in order to disqualify the taste that may possibly be absorbed in the walls of the utensil, in this case being the oven, has to have been cleaned, and then the 24 hours start. This is a rule by all kosherizing. Anytime we need to kosherize something, we need to wait 24 hours from when it was cleaned in order to kosherize it. We'll give examples for each one, but now specifically for the oven, the grates, the walls, the ceiling, the door on the inside obviously, and the bottom all need to be, the racks all need to be squeaky clean. Then you wait. So if that was finished, let's say noon on Tuesday, so that means only noon on Wednesday can we do the kosherizing. The kosherizing for an oven is the same way as it absorbed. How did it absorb? It absorbed by being the oven on to its hottest temperature. So that's what we do to get the taste that is absorbed in the walls and in that utensil out. So if you have a self-clean oven, most ovens have self-clean mode. It's the easiest. You put the self-clean mode on, and it goes different timing, that's fine, and it goes to very high numbers of degrees, much hotter than what you even cooked with. So you're for sure good. If you don't have a self-cleaning mode, then what you need to do is you need to put the oven on its highest setting, and practically speaking, we leave it on at least for a good hour on its highest setting. So again, ideally would be to do self-clean mode if your oven has a self-clean mode. But the self-clean mode alone does not help. I had a woman that called me today and said, Rabbi, I did a self-clean mode for my oven. Can I start cooking for Pesach? I said, did you clean your oven? Did you wait 24 hours? Oh, I waited 24 hours. But was it clean before? It's very important. The taste that is captured in those walls only becomes pagum, disqualified as a good taste only when the utensil is cleaned. So let's just make it very simple with the oven. You clean it really well. You wait 24 hours, and then you put it onto either self-clean mode or the hottest oven, and that's how you kosherize your oven. This goes without saying that the dial on the outside and the handle to open the oven, all of that was obviously wiped down. You don't need to do anything hot, but obviously wiped down and cleaned practically from any crumbs. But the oven itself is, as I said. There's one more utensil I want to speak about this evening, and we'll speak more tomorrow, is a hot plate. Many of us have hot plates, or platas as we like to call it, for Shabbat. Can we use these on Pesach or not? The halakha is, again, let's approach the halakha with a little bit of brains. Let's approach the situation and look at it and say, how is this item hametz or not? Do I bake directly on it? No, it's used to heat up. So therefore, halakha is as follows. Again, we need to clean it with soap and water. We need to make sure practically there are no crumbs. If you look at the sides of a plata, there is some type of a hole, so to say, that sometimes crumbs get in, especially by the handles. If the plata is fully cleaned properly, all that needs to be done is taking hot water from a kli rishon and to pour it on it. It's called hag'ala. That's all that needs to be done. Boiling hot water from a kumkum or from a pot that came off the stove, directly on it after it was cleaned well and obviously waited for 24 hours. That is the raw halakha. That is permissible. Ideally, a plata of Shabbat that you put your bread on, that's fine. Now, ideally, that is halakha l'maseh. Ideally, this is what I do personally at home, just as an extra safeguard. Again, Pesach, whenever there is stringencies that make somewhat sense, we do. I wrap it with aluminum foil. Wrap it once, wrap it twice, just as a safeguard. Again, it's not absolutely necessary. However, it depends. You got to make sure that every single little crumb is not there, especially since we put our bread on the plata. There could be crumbs there. So it depends on how old and how clean your plata is. If it's squeaky clean, no problem. Sometimes the glass platas, which glass could be kosherized, also we'll speak about it, especially tomorrow morning when we speak about stovetops. But the glass platot, sometimes that metal rim, between the glass and the rim, you got some poppy seeds, you have some crumbs over there that might not come off. If they're not coming out from your cleaning, then you will not be able to use that plata on Pesach. Maybe if you say you wash it with soap and water, you need to disqualify that crumb, and then you cover it also with aluminum foil. But practically speaking, we need to just make sure that there is absolutely no chametz over there. Ideally, maybe cover it with aluminum foil to be sure. If you cover your plata with aluminum foil, it will still be warm enough to heat up your food on Pesach. Again, so we spoke about the oven, we spoke about the hot plate / plata, and we'll speak about different utensils, B'ezrat Hashem, tomorrow. Tomorrow morning, Shacharit is starting at 10.